It's time to sit back and check out the RCWR show with Lee Sanders. Get fun, in-depth coverage and analysis from the latest in professional wrestling in AEW, WWE, NWA, Impact Wrestling, or the world of entertainment. From hit TV shows to your favorite sports like the NBA or NFL. All things music, movies, and beyond, while trying to make sense of this crazy world we live in. All while keeping it honest, insightful, and interactive since 2011. And now your hosts, live from the nation's capital of Washington, D.C., Lee Sanders.
Yeah, what's going on, my pretty babies? You are checking out this Monday night edition of the RCWR show for this March 10th, 2025. I cannot believe we are almost at the halfway part for the month of March. Just insane when I think about it. I hope you guys had a fantastic weekend and your work week is off to a solid start. Mine's definitely my weekend. It was fantastic. I got to tell you, Saturday, I was very privileged. I was very honored to be able to participate in a FaceTime with the Pros event that was happening at the University of Maryland campus, which is one of 4 universities I've submitted to, and hoping that between one of those 4, I'll be able to get the green light. Congratulations. We'd love to have you on board. I'll be going to them this fall. There was a FaceTime with the Pros event where I got to pick the brains of well-respected journalists, hiring managers, regional managers in the news industry. I was also not only able to pick their brains, but I was able to pick the brains of some well-respected documentary producers, television show producers. It was awesome. It was really, really awesome. A lot of fun. Had all different types of workshops too that was going on. One that I really enjoyed the most, there was one that was hosted by a NBC4 local news station affiliate. And of all the reporters that were there to do the event, apparently they've been doing it every year for a handful of years now. Mark Seagraves and Amy Cho, they did this go live workshop where basically they gave you this mock press conference and they gave you just bullet points of information. And then you had to take those bullet points of information that you were given and you had to go live and talk for about a minute, 2 minutes, making sure you hit all the points and everything. So it was really, really cool and everything. I got a lot of praise for how I did my joint. Question was asked, have you done this before? Like, yes, sort of, right? Like, I've been a long time podcaster, so like this kind of is almost natural and all that. But yeah, it was a lot of fun. A lot of fun. I'll be talking a lot more about it as later on in the week. Me and Tams are supposed to be sitting down for sure doing an episode of Wrestling with the Topics. Yo, no polls are up asking you guys, what did you think about tonight's WWE RAW? I think when it's all said and done, this was one of those episodes where, on the one hand, you appreciate the fact that it was coming to us from Madison Square Garden in New York City, but then at the same time, you're also going, well, look, we know the main event match. It's that steel cage between CM Punk, Seth Rollins, where you're just looking at that one going, I don't know about you all, but for me personally, I'm going, there's just no way, no how this rivalry ends with this steel cage match. There's got to be some type of interference, is what I was thinking when this match was first announced. And I felt like a decent amount of you all out there that we're still taking the scenic route here when it's all said and done as far as the road to WrestleMania. Punk versus Rollins versus Reigns. That feels like maybe that for sure is still the match that's going to happen at WrestleMania. And sure enough, they took one nice little scenic route, didn't they, WWE? But when it was all said and done, this is what we got coming up in less than what 35 nights at WrestleMania. So kind of interesting how they took the approach and all that to tell this story to get there and all that. But putting that whole steel cage main event, Roman Reigns appearing to the side, this was a little bit of a so-so episode. To the point, I not don't know how you all feel. Y'all can sound off and let your man know, but I am more excited for next week's Raw, knowing that it's going to be happening in Belgium. We've got that special start time too. So here is where we see the power in the relationship of Netflix coming into play here with WWE, because you would think, oh, it's all good. We're going to get our no. We're not going to get our Raw at the usual time. We're going to be getting our Raw next Monday. It's going to be 8 p.m. out there for that respected country, but for us on the East Coast in the US, live at 3 p.m. And then actually, no. I think for us, it's actually, for us, it's 12 p.m. Eastern and then 3 p.m. Pacific. That's what's going to be going on for next Monday. So I'm very curious to see how the analytics is going to be looking for that episode when it's all said and done, considering the special time that is going to be coming on and on. But the card for next Monday's show is looks a lot better than what we had got for this week, as really for this week, it was just all about one match and one match only. But yeah, make sure you all, I don't know, I'd say set your DVRs, but it's on Netflix now. So see what you can do as far as next Monday goes, depending on where you stay and all that. Because I don't know, some of you guys, you might be able to check out Raw live in real time next week. But then again, some of you all right. So I'm looking at the official time now because I had it a little bit mixed up. I apologize. So the special start time is, for what I said the first time before I corrected myself. If you're on the East Coast in the United States, it's going to be 3 p.m. Eastern. If you're on the West Coast, it's going to be 12 p.m. 12 p.m. Pacific. All right. And then meanwhile, out in Belgium, they're going to be getting it at 8 p.m. So no matter what, no matter how you spin it, it's going to be live. That's the important thing. It's going to be live, no tape delay. Well, I would imagine there's going to be a few seconds of a tape delay. But as far as us getting hey, this episode's already in the books, it's been pre-recorded, that's not what we're getting next week. So, and remember, this goes back to what Triple H and crew were talking about and making the announcement of WWE going to Netflix and then doing the Raw post show afterwards, talking about no matter where they are in the world, no matter what country they are in, they'll always be able to go live and fans will be able to tune in and take in that product right then and there live in real time. So pretty badass, all said and done. So look, we were talking about that whole steel cage match. Let's go ahead and talk about that a little bit here, right? So kudos to WWE for the way that they have laid out this ongoing rivalry between Seth Rollins and CM Punk. Everything just these past several weeks involving the Royal Rumble and then Elimination Chamber. And then we get to this steel cage match here where you're feeling like once and for all, no matter what, when it's all said and done, like this is it. This is the end here for Seth Rollins and CM Punk. Like win, lose, or draw, like this is it. So I love essentially how this was built up. Okay. But it did definitely make me go, yo, as far as the road to WrestleMania here, like regardless, and I don't know if this was a thought process for you fans there, but I know for me, the fan in me is going, no matter what, whoever wins here, there is still a mystique in the air as far as, okay, so what does the road to WrestleMania look like? Because, regardless who wins here, as far as that world championship match goes, like that's not in the cards at this year's WrestleMania, at least. So what is going to be on the cards as far as WrestleMania goes? Right? That was my real question. And the bigger part of me was under the impression that we're maybe going to somehow see these two guys in Rollins and Punk lock it up again. I did feel as though there was gonna be some type of interference. I just wasn't sure if it was gonna be from Roman Reigns or if it was gonna be from some other entity that maybe we ain't thought about in a good minute and everything. But I tell you what, putting all that to the side, as far as this steel cage match goes, everything that I was expecting and then some, it played out exactly how I thought it was. I appreciate the fact that we got a little bit over 20 minutes for this steel cage match. Uh, just having the return of Roman Reigns from just out of nowhere, as in the final moments of this matchup, and really, really great back and forth between Rollins and Punk, using each other's finisher signature moves on one another. I know at one point CM Punk must have did at least 5 elbow drops, one of them from high up above steel cage structure. You would think that after delivering all of those multiple elbow drops, one, Seth Rollins would probably be coughing up a little bit of blood, and then two, there's just no way this guy's gonna kick out. But hey, we're talking about larger than life athletes here and everything. But final moments of this one, we see Rollins crawling over, pretty much yelling a whole bunch of crap at Punk. Rollins telling Punk, if you want this, you gotta come and you gotta take this from me. You gotta take it from my body. GTS gets blocked by Rollins. Rollins managed to hit one of his own. Rollins follows up with a stomp, goes for the cover. Somehow Punk manages to kick out. Rollins now is looking at the open steel cage door. Punk crawls over to Rollins. Rollins manages to set himself up on the second rope and hits another stomp on CM Punk. Crowd very white hot. They are loving this, but then all of a sudden there's some hands that's grabbing on Seth Rollins from behind. We're not able to see exactly who it is until finally the camera pulls back quite a bit and we see that it's Roman Reigns who is dragging Seth Rollins away from the scene there, which pretty much the match is over. Now, see, here's the thing that I now, and let me really make sure I stress this, because for those that maybe were watching this whole sequence go down and maybe got a little bit confused, the rules for this match was simple. You could either win this steel cage match, pinfall or submission, or by somehow escaping the cage, whether that's you climb up this steel like structure, you go over that way, or you went through the cage door. But those were the only ways that you could win. So for those that might have seemed a little bit confused at the end there, now you know why and how, because they made sure they declared that Seth Rollins was the winner. And I appreciate the fact that Michael Cole and the gang, they acknowledged, okay, well, Seth Rollins got pulled out. He's basically won. That's it. The match is over. He's won. But Roman Reigns just coming in there, laying havoc, delivering multiple spears to Seth Rollins, even managing to pull off a curb stomp there. I mean, all carnage. Loved it. Beautiful carnage. Roman setting up Rollins face first on steel steps. This dude was looking to do some serious damage to the Visionary when Adam Pearce, who you just got to give a lot of props to Adam Pearce. I got to say, I think about all the previous general managers that we've seen on television through the years, and Adam Pearce, the height that he has, he's a big boy. He is a big boy, and I just love the fact that this guy, no matter what type of threat is going on, I love the fact that he is among the first to be out there trying to be the peacemaker always willing to get in the face. Like, he doesn't care who it is. We have seen him get in the face, going toe to toe with some of the biggest superstars that's out there, saying to them, no, 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 not on my watch. Got to give him a lot of props, because especially when it came to Roman Reigns, because whatever ill intentions Roman had there, Adam Pearce, he didn't care who the hell this dude was in Roman Reigns. He got right up in his face, letting him know, yeah, it ain't happening. Not here, not tonight. As we then see in the background, Paul Heyman, wise man, he's consoling CM Punk. And I guess Heyman was letting Punk know, pretty much what all had happened, and maybe he was apologizing profusely and everything. Roman, not liking this one little bit, decides to now focus his attention on the voice of the voiceless coming in there, wrecking havoc on him, hitting him with a couple of spears and everything, as Paul Heyman looked on uh very shocked as Raw went off the air that way. uh big things popping right here. We got Heyman stuck in the middle here. Who does his allegiance lie with here? Is it with Roman Reigns, or is it with CM Punk, or is Heyman like, I just, not right now. I just need to be done with both men. But then here's the other thing that we need to think about too. And I honestly believe that I alluded to this a couple of weeks ago, that that favor, that CM Punk has with Paul Heyman. Remember what I said a couple of weeks ago? I said, look, they used to bring it up quite a bit, but they've pumped the brakes on that, right? They've pumped the brakes on that. Don't be surprised. I told you guys, don't be surprised if that favor gets called upon on the road to WrestleMania. So you definitely need to have that going in the back of your mind. Of course, the question remains, what is that favor? What is that favor? I think we're gonna know a lot sooner, rather than later there. Or does Heyman somehow end up choosing Seth Rollins? That would be a very interesting alliance, wouldn't it? I mean, he could go in that direction as well. I mean, there's just so much that's up in the air. Makes this road to WrestleMania, because there's so many fun turns. Like, you just don't know exactly what's going to be happening here. But fun little main event, especially given the fact that we know without a shadow of doubt now one of the main events we're going to be getting for one of those nights of WrestleMania. Speaking of WrestleMania, we had got some news as far as the WWE Hall of Fame goes. Shout out to you guys that's probably getting ready to make your travel arrangements and all that in a little bit. Now, tickets go on sale this Friday, apparently, for those of you that might be interested in the WWE Hall of Fame. It's going to be happening Friday, April 18th at the Blue Live Theater in Las Vegas. One more time, Friday, April 18th at the Blue Live Theater in Las Vegas will be the WWE Hall of Fame. Tickets go on sale this Friday, and the way things are looking right now, they are mostly going to be involved in some combo packages. So those of you that are used to going to WWE events and you're familiar with the combo deals, you know what time it is. Newer folks out there, likely this is going to be grouped with SmackDown, could potentially be grouped with maybe night one of WrestleMania, or just however they're going to. There's definitely going to be different bundles. So it's kind of one of those, well, whichever one suits your fanny, go ahead, go with that one and everything. So be on the lookout for that. Again, tickets are going to be going on sale this Friday. From what I researched of the venue too, by the way, I mean, it looks to be a fantastic venue. Very, very fantastic venue. Some other stuff that happened on tonight's Monday Night Raw. Jey Uso was in action against Grayson Waller. Jey Uso picking up the win. Nothing flashy, nothing spectacular here. A decent opener though. Jay in this build up to this match against Gunther for the World Heavyweight Championship. Really seems to be stringing together solid solid singles matches there. I got to give him a lot of props for that. Post match, Austin Theory jumping on Jey Uso right along there with Grayson Waller. Eventually, Jay manages to get a little bit of offense in there, but then out of nowhere, bam! Gunther coming in, choking the hell out of him. Pretty much was done with that segment. Later on in the night, we see Jey Uso icing up. You know, he's manning up with some icy hot, and we see Otis, Akira Tozawa, Maxine Dupree. They come in there, let him know they're sorry they let him down, but they were going to have his back next time because apparently by the time they found out what was going on, like damage was already done. But they promised they would have his back next go round. Meanwhile, Logan Paul hitting the ring. You know, one thing that just felt a little bit like overkill for me tonight it was the fact that we had saw so many celebrities in attendance, Macaulay Culkin and a whole bunch of other people that I don't know nothing about. Andrew Schultz. Andrew Schultz reminded me of the pizza guy that's on the independent scene. Y'all know who I'm talking about. AEW at one point had signed him, or at least to make a couple of appearances. They did. But I thought I was maybe looking at the pizza guy and everything. But so many celebrities that were. Uh, it's interesting. It's just interesting, and you know sometimes it's oh hey yeah I'm from, and then you know most times it just goes way over my head. And even when I'm given a little bit of information about who these celebrities are, what they've been in, it's usually, yeah, I didn't watch that, so that's way over my head. And then I have to rely on you guys to either go, yeah, that was actually pretty good. Check it out when you get a chance, or yeah, you ain't missing nothing, Lee. By the way, we're going to be talking AEW Revolution. I'll give you guys my thoughts about the pay-per-view event. I'm sure by now everybody knows the results. So we're not going to do a full-blown review. I'll just give you my generalized thoughts on the event. And I have a lot to say in regards to, as we're talking about celebrities, I am very well aware because I watched, believe it or not, I actually watched AEW Revolution last night in real time. I ordered the pay-per-view and everything. I watched it. And I'm aware of what that one celebrity had said there that we will definitely dive into. So definitely stick around for that one. But Logan Paul was in the house buttering up Andrew Schultz, trying to find out, you know, yeah, tell the good people while you're here. Let them know what real WWE superstar you're here to see. And Andrew's like, I'm like all the people here in New York. You know, we're here for the steel cage match between Seth Rollins and CM Punk. That's what we came to see. And Andrew's like, nobody came to see you, Logan. Like, come on, man. It's like it's not about you, homie. Like, this isn't Cleveland, all right? Like, this is New York. Logan not liking that. Those were fighting words. Dragged Andrew in the ring, was getting ready to stomp a mud hole in his ass. AJ Styles came out there for the rescue. Managed to get in a couple of hits in there on Logan before Logan stormed off. Yay. I mean, that pretty much was it in a nutshell. From there, that's a tornado tag match. Rey Mysterio and Dragon Lee teaming up to take on Xavier Woods and Kofi Kingston. Xavier Woods, Kofi Kingston picking up the win via pinfall. Okay of a tag match. Got a little bit sloppy towards the end. We had a matched luchador that appeared from the crowd section and basically had helped New Day pick up the win. This luchador was wearing a American-made mask. So you're kind of putting two and two together going, okay, we know who this is. This is Chad Gable. Okay, cool. Later on, I can't think of the reporter. Maybe it was Kathy Kelly, but she caught up with Chad Gable and was trying to find out, you know, hey, what do you say for yourself there? You know, interfering in that tag match from earlier. Chad's like, no, what are you talking about? That wasn't me. And she is laying heavy into him, going, look, don't insult our intelligence. Like, clear as day, it was you. Like, we know your moves. Da, 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 da. And then in the background, we see security has detained the guy that was wearing the luchador mask, apparently, as Chad Gable's looking on and he's going, see there? See? Like, there's that security for you. There's that New York security for you. And he just walked off. So I don't know about that one. I kind of feel as though maybe Chad Gable set up that poor guy. Who knows? 1 week you go, okay, all right, we were wrong. But if it happens a second week in a row, fam, I don't believe in coincidences. I really don't. By the way, I still see that a decent amount of you guys are really, really loving the idea of Ray Phoenix somehow being involved. A lot of you are hoping that can somehow happen before he and Penta reunite as a tag team. I mean, we'll just have to wait and see how it plays out. But WWE definitely has their options ahead of them there. Cody Rhodes making a special appearance here on tonight's Raw, pretty much acknowledging the history there with the Garden. Bringing up John Cena, mentioning the fact that, despite how historic the MSG is, how John Cena decided not to appear there for tonight's Raw, but instead, John Cena is going to be out there in Belgium for next Monday's Raw. Cody promises that he'll be there as well. He also called John Cena a goddamn moron. That was kind of nice how he went about that, while also mentioning the fact that he's the captain now, as far as the face that runs the place. So nice little promo. It was actually pretty good from John Cena. Really, really pumped up for next week, seeing both of these guys, same show, going back and forth. That should be a pretty damn good explosive segment. Bailey versus Raquel Rodriguez. Winner of this became the number one contender for Lyra Valkyria's Intercontinental Championship thingamajigga there. Raquel Rodriguez picking up the move here. I don't mind this. I don't mind this, honestly. I like the way WWE is currently utilizing Bailey. They're almost having her be in this enhancement role, so to speak, here. And look, I'm okay with someone like Raquel, especially if it means, look, you'll get more singles matches, you'll get more opportunities. This, really helps not just build you up a little bit, but think about it from this standpoint too. Like, Bailey is a multi-time champion in her own right, definitely a future WWE Hall of Famer. When you go back and you look at the credentials. So the fact that Raquel Rodriguez was able to score such a massive win over Bailey, that sets the tone, does it not, for that upcoming match where you're looking and you're going, gee, I don't know, and the fact that Raquel Rodriguez is a 3-time tag champion here, someone that was a former competitor in the Mae Young tournament. um you're just thinking about when and if eventually WWE will do another Evolution women's event. Likely Raquel's going to shine pretty good on there. So like, this was good, like on all levels. Like, you really couldn't, mediocre match, yeah, but you honestly, you couldn't crap on the fact that, okay, Bailey did the deed here to Raquel. Hey, pretty cool. See, from there we had a nice segment between Io Sky celebrating the fact that she's the new women's champion. Not really able to enjoy it like that because Rhea Ripley, Bianca Belair, they were getting into it. They were making it more about each other than focusing on the current women's champion. Things got pretty heated between Bianca and Rio, that EO had to remind them, yo, y'all are going back and forth with each other, and yet y'all are forgetting about me. Like, y'all need to show me some goddamn respect. Smacking the hell out of both women. I'm just hearing that new Redman song that's going around. I gotta review that album too, man. When I get an opportunity, because that is one damn good album. I'm telling you, that's one damn good album. Let's see. Other than that, by the way, when I'm thinking about Bianca Belair, that was one kick-ass segment for Bianca and Naomi from Friday Night SmackDown. And the fact that Naomi, man, I don't know where that woman went, but she went somewhere near and dear to her heart. She went somewhere deep, because to see her legit crying as she was selling that segment. And I know, yeah, she did it for the Bianca. I get it. I get the Rikishi reference and all that. I get that. But no, like, really, when you take a step back, you go, wow, that was some fine ass acting by Naomi. Neck brace and all. And then also think about this. It's the little things that I really appreciate. The fact that Naomi went to the queen of the what the hell? Bigger experiences. Boy, it seems like my tablet is possessed. Anyway, the audio just came on out of nowhere. But no, the fact that Naomi went to the Queen of the Ring red carpet premiere event and she was still wearing that neck brace, you're like, oh, dedication, the dedication, such fine detail. Like, I appreciate you, homegirl. I appreciate you. No, I enjoyed that segment though. That was not expecting that. Was not expecting that. So good stuff. Good stuff. I can't believe we've already got done talking about Raw here. That pretty much was it. It's really all about next week now. Next week's card is loaded. So we've got Braun Breaker defending the Intercontinental Championship against Finn Balor. Jey Uso will be taking on Austin Theory. Ivy now will go one-on-one with Dakota Kai. What other matches do we have for next week? We know Cody Rhodes and John Cena, they're going to be in the same building. So that should be good. Something else is supposed to be happening next week. I feel like I'm forgetting. Oh, obviously, we're going to be dealing with the aftermath of what Roman did there in a main event match between Rollins and Seth. But I feel like I'm missing maybe two more matches. Penta. Penta is facing Ludwig Kaiser one-on-one. There's one more match that I'm missing. Let me see if I'm going to try to check my notes here. I'm trying to do my best to remember just offhand. That appears to be, I'm remembering everything. So far. So yeah, next week's card, Belgium, looking very, very good. Cannot wait for that one. Did you guys get in your pre-orders for WWE 2K25? Remember, it's going to be out worldwide. What's that? This Friday, which is the 14th, correct? Yeah, Friday the 14th. And shout out to you guys that have responded to me online. I was asking the question about whether or not there was going to be any physical goodies for those that purchased a physical copy. And a lot of you guys were like, yeah, no, Lee, nothing is happening with the physical copy this year. And it had me reminiscing out in the open online. I said, man, I missed the days where if you pre-ordered a physical copy of whatever game, you used to get some really, really nice bonuses. You get some really cool statues, maybe an exclusive figurine that only was made available for that pre-order bundle. You weren't going to be able to find it anywhere else. Some signed collectibles. Y'all know how it was back when. And it seems that is not the case anymore, as for the most part, everything has just, all that has gone to the wayside. And, it's all about just the digital stuff, right? It's funny, not funny, but right down to the point where we're talking about, 2K25. And I'll definitely be picking up my copy this week. For sure, I'll be picking up my copy. It's funny though. I was out on the road. When was this? I was out several nights ago, and I was curious what was going on with the GameStop that was around my way. Something just said, see what's new. Cause like every time I drive past this one particular area, because the GameStop that I'm thinking of, it's part of like this shopping plaza that's got a Little Caesars, and there's always some new establishment in this little shopping plaza. So something just said, it was like 1 o'clock in the morning. I was already out on the road. I felt like a drink. So I was like, all right, well, while I'm in the neighborhood, like, let me see what's going on. And I could not believe it. The GameStop, I mean, the GameStop, that particular GameStop had been there since like, it was definitely there before. No, it got there maybe a year or two after I moved out here, after I came down here from Virginia. I didn't think that GameStop would go anywhere. And I have a few fond memories of that GameStop. One of the more recent ones. I remember going there, waiting in line for about 4 hours to grab myself a Super Nintendo Mini. 4 hours I waited in line to get a hold of one of those bad boys. And it was worth it. I ended up turning a nice profit when it was all said and done. I turned in a nice profit on that. And I was like, wow, the GameStop. And I've been hearing more and more stories about how the GameStops are disappearing, and it's like, wow, we really are going that digital age, right? It's all about that digital consumption and everything. Do I think, if you were to pick my brain right now and say, Lee, do you think physical media, particularly when it comes to video games, do you think it's going to make a comeback? I don't know, fam. I think it really depends, because as a society, we've gotten so complacent with, oh, I can just turn on this console, or I can turn on this app, and whatever I'm trying to access, it'll always be there. And that's not always the case. Like I think a really good example, if you need any further of a really good example of what I'm talking about, for those of you that have uh Verizon Fios or whatever it's called now, Xfinity, YouTube TV. When you buy those movies, hey, this is mine, it's mine forever, ha ha ha. Only thing I have to worry about is if I forget to pay my bill, and my service gets interrupted or whatever. Like then I no longer own that content. Boo hoo 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 hoo. But like that's not even the case, because eventually what happens is shit expires. And then it's like, well, wait a minute. I don't understand that. I bought this. So I should always be able to not only view this on multiple devices, but I should be able to download this on any device because I paid for it. So, like, what the hell? But that's not always the case. So I do feel there's always going to be a need for physical media, especially when it comes to the video games and all that. I think honestly, let's be for real. When you get to the heart of the matter for why things have taken a turn in the video game industry, tying it back to WWE 2K25 and just all that, when you get right down to the heart of the matter, gamers got freaking sick and tired of being treated like a crackhead. There is nothing more infuriating than, you take your Gears of War 3 limited edition box set. You got the Marcus Phoenix statue and all this other stuff, and you decide, I want to make a little bit of money because I'm trying to get a new game console, or I need the money. I gotta get this part for my car, whatever the case may be. And you're like, man, I spent like almost $300 for this limited edition I should be able to at least get back 175, maybe almost 200 because everything's like in mint condition. And they look at your stuff and they go, yeah, $40. It's like, but I paid like damn near $300. Yeah, yeah, $40. It's that type of behavior that made gamers go, yeah, you know what, bump this. And then let's not also forget uh the physical storage space, right? Like you got all these games that's just piling up, piling up, piling. Looks cool, but it's piling up, and eventually, you got to figure out, hey, where am I gonna take this, right? Because I'm running out of room. Speaking of running out of room, for those of you that like your vinyl records, if you're like me and you're looking for some really good storage bins, hit up my guys over at the Record Store Exchange. They were at the Silver Spring, Maryland location. Now they still got their location up in Frederick, Maryland. But a few months back, they closed their Silver Spring location. Apparently, they're selling a whole bunch of really cool record bin racks. They shared photos on their Facebook group page. They're asking for like $100 to $150 for anybody that's interested. So go check that out when you guys get a chance. I see that since last we were on the air, some interesting stuff had went down. Let's start with the Shayna Baszler versus Jade Cargill. So apparently there was a confrontation that took place a few months ago, way before the Jade Cargill injury. And remember that happened right around November. Jade was out long period of time. We didn't see her come back till Elimination Chamber a couple of weeks ago. So it's since been confirmed, apparently, as you had the Wrestling Observer newsletter and a few other outlets confirm this, but apparently nobody would go into exact details about what happened here. But they did say that Jade Cargill rubbed enough people on the Raw women's roster the wrong way, and Baszler was one of those people at the very top of the list that decided she was gonna fight Jade Cargill until management got wind of it, stepped in, and calmed the situation down. So this time frame would have been right about when Baszler and Zoe Stark were doing mix up matches there. Sometimes it'd be a tag match and then it'd be singles matches there with Bianca Belair and Cargill. It wasn't said what in particular happened, other than it wasn't just a one time thing. And the belief is that some of it stemmed from inside the ring and in those matches, and some didn't. One female star said they believe the tension within the SmackDown side was worse than on the Raw side. So basically, in a nutshell, you've had some women that felt a little bit rubbed the wrong way on the SmackDown side, but more women were just pretty nuclear on the Raw side. So, look, I would imagine that, and this is me speculating, so I definitely want to say that at the top, but I would imagine that when Jade first came to the WWE, I would imagine she probably had this aura about her that her stuff didn't stank, uh, that she was all that in a bag of chips. I would like to believe that her head was filled up pretty high there, right? I mean, that here got filled up real good. But then I would like to believe there was some growing pains that she learned real quick, and the best way that I can compare things, honestly, is, and I cannot relate to it inside the ring, but where I can relate to this with the experience that I have in life, I can relate to it from this standpoint. Stay with me. So I have been a self-taught videographer, uh, you know, voiceover actor, years upon years upon years. When it comes to all things editing audio, video, producing, like I did everything self-taught. And so it's been an incredible journey for me, especially given everything that I learned on my own. And now it's just a matter of, okay, well, I want a degree that says I know what the hell I'm talking about. And so to now be in the position where this summer I'm going to get my associate's degree, like I'm on cloud nine, but I'm not just stopping there. I want to transfer to a 4 year institution so I can get my bachelor's. It's been amazing thinking, okay, I know all this, but I've been going in going, okay, tell me something I don't already know. Show me something that I don't already know. So I'm coming in there. Yeah, I have my experience, but I'm not coming into whatever class with whoever that professor is, whoever my peers are. I'm not coming in there going, I'm better than you guys, right? It's like, no, no. I'm going in there, blank mind. Tell me something I don't already know. Show me something I don't already know. And I'm always learning something new. Always. I got to tell you, last week, I won't mention her name. I won't mention her name. But last week, um, there was this one student who had the role of director for this one project that this group was doing. And the project that we're doing right now, we're basically creating like a cold open montage. Not to bore you guys, but we're creating like a montage which basically does a segue to our in studio segment where we got to utilize all three cameras, our teleprompter, and our director has to, all right, go to camera one. All right, now go to camera three, back to camera two. So we're doing all this cool stuff and everything. Anyway, this one director for this one group, she spent the entire class just working on the lights. And I was made the lighting director. So I'm doing my thing with the lights. I have an idea how I want things because I've already talked to the talent. They've told me, no, no, this is what we're doing. We're using the green screen. Like that's it. We're gonna rely on graphics for everything else. So just get the green screen right. It's like, okay, bet. And so I'm working on the green screen, getting the backdrop. I'm working, high above. I'm setting up the spotlights, all that, making sure the barn doors are just right. I'm not even doing it for 10 minutes. And then the director comes and she's like, oh, don't do that, do this. I'm like, okay. Ah, don't do that, do this instead. And I'm like, okay. No, not like that. It'll like, and I'm like, okay, I don't know what you're talking about. So I'm starting to step down. I'm like, why don't you, and I feel myself getting irritated. So I said, I'm gonna go get some waters, like, cause I'm an asshole when I first wake up in the morning. I need at least an hour to shake off because I get up, I get in my car, boom, I go to class, right? And half the time I don't even have a cup of coffee. So anyway, we lost the entire class because she was messing around with the lights. And that's not normally how it goes. Normally we spend about maybe at least 35, maybe 40 minutes messing around with the lights, getting everything set up. And then we do a white balance test, and then we do the audio test, all that. Then we go through a couple of practice runs, then we do the actual recording. That's typically, but we lost the whole class because she was on the lights. So all she wanted to do was work on the lights. I gotta tell you, there were quite a few classmates that didn't like that. I know I was at the top of that list. I didn't like that, and I was very irritated. But I thought about it more and more and more and more. And this goes back to the whole Jay Cargill thing. I said, not for nothing, but to be devil's advocate a little bit. Now that I have an understanding, that this girl who's the director for this project, she knows what she wants and she understands what the talent is trying to get, and she's trying to do her very best to help get them to that. Although it may have taken a while for everything to finally get put in place, now that I'm finally able to see what, okay, I need to have more patience. Just goes to show you. I said that to myself. I said, I need to have more patience. Right. And so, if anything, rather than me bitching and complaining, I really should have been more about, hey, how can I help? What can I do to help you achieve this? Because, like, when you win, I win, like the whole team wins. Right. I wouldn't be surprised if Jay Cargill did not have that mindset early on. If she was given a particular type of aura that, oh, this you know what, thinks she knows everything. Oh, she acting like her don't stink. Okay. And Shayna Baszler, oh my God, cue up Trina. I'm the realest. You know, that's a bad, that's a bad mama. And it's so funny, like, cause like you've never heard of anything bad in regards to Shayna Baszler. Whatever that is asked of her to do, Shayna Baszler, all that, then some. She just renewed with WWE. What is she now? Like 42, 43, 44 years old. Just re-upped with the WWE. So that shows you how much respect they have for her and her work ethic and all that. To hear that Shayna Baszler potentially was about to throw it down with Jay Cargill, you must be doing something wrong for Shayna to be like, I'm gonna have to whoop this whoop this trick. All right. I would hope that whatever went down, things got nice and smooth out. It got ironed out, and everybody's now on the same page. But that put a nice little chuckle on my face because I'm just picturing, Jay Cargill. I'm just literally going, you might have the muscles, you might have the abs and all that, but Shayna Baszler has the experience. Like Shayna, you know, if I had to pick off that roster, off that entire women's roster, if I let me put it to you this way. Let me put it to you this way. If I was, I don't know, a celebrity and I needed me a bodyguard, or if I decided, yeah, no, let's go with that. I think that's a good analogy, right? I'm hiring men and women bodyguards, okay? And if I'm going, okay, if I can have like who are my number one picks for a male security guard, personal bodyguard and all that, and then for a female security guard, personal bodyguard, like Shayna Baszler is at the top of my list. She's my number one. If I gotta go with number two, Moose. If I'm not mistaken, Moose had previous experience too, so I'm gonna go with Moose. Those are the two that I'm going with. I am not messing around. I am not messing around. Now, Carmella, outside the ring now, she's known as Lee Van Dale. She's now doing her media rounds and everything. Huh. Oh, that sucks. That sucks. I wasn't expecting that to happen. That sucks. Anyway, it is what it is. Um, we were talking about Carmella. She does this interview. I don't even know what's the woman's name? Kale Lowry. An exclusive tell-all interview. First of all, I'm gonna be real here. I'm gonna be real. Well, I'm real 24/7, but no, look, this interview annoyed me on so many levels. It annoyed me on so many levels. I don't know if Carmella is really good friends with this person or if this was just through respected connections. How, hey, boom, all right, got this interview, like whatever. But I need for aspiring wrestlers, aspiring entertainers, veterans, I need you all to look at this interview and use it as a cautionary tale of what not to do. What not to do when you have worked for an employer for an extended period of time. And if you're starting to feel as though you're caught up in your feelings, you're caught up in a particular way, you got it bad. This Carmella interview is a prime example of why you shouldn't be so quick to rush out and do the first interview that comes your way. Because this woman said some idiotic and damaging things that I'm looking at going, what are you thinking? What are you talking about? Because you're not only doing harm for yourself and good God Almighty, way to burn a bridge, but your husband still works there. Some type of money is still coming in here. Like what the hell? And this woman, this interviewer, the dumb line, oh, I'd be, suing everybody. It's like, first of all, pump the brakes here. Pump the brakes here. Carmella did not get fired by the WWE. She did not get fired by the WWE. Her contract pretty much came and went. Whatever her last day of employment was with the company, it came and went. As far as a contract renewal, a new contract offer, no, it was basically appreciate your services, but we're going to go in a different direction. And she wants to say that what happened to her, how could WWE do this to her? Saying, quote unquote, a handful of women have gotten pregnant while under contract, and basically they freeze your contract while you're pregnant. They pay you, which is so incredible. They don't have to pay you while you're pregnant. And they paid me. And they've paid every woman who has been pregnant before under contract. I'm so grateful for that. Carmella said she did offer to work while pregnant, telling the team, please, I know I can't wrestle, but let me go on the road. Let me do interviews. I'll do kickoff shows. I'll do panels. Let me contribute, because she didn't want them to think she was cool sitting at home, getting paid and not working. However, they allegedly told her to stay home. So she later shared that she had offered to continue appearing on camera despite her pregnancy, demonstrating her dedication to the brand and her craft, saying usually what's happened in the past with women who have been pregnant under contract is they have their baby, they recover, and every postpartum journey is so different. I don't want to speak on anyone else's recovery. Mine's was obviously a lot more difficult because of the nerve damage with my foot. I let them know the day I had my son. This is what happened. This is what's going on. Then, when she was reflecting on how she learned about her contract expiration, she revealed that her WWE contract had been paused following the birth of her child. However, it was reinstated just 7 weeks later without her knowledge. She shared that without any prior warning, she received a call informing her that her contract was nearing its expiration. It would not be renewed, saying, quote, when I had the nerve damage, my doctor was like, it'll just resolve in like 4 to 6 weeks and you'll be fine. Now, months and months are going by and it's not getting better. I'm getting all these tests, seeing specialists, and I've been in touch with WWE the entire way, telling them what was going on and everything like that. Fast forward until a few weeks ago, and I got a call saying my contract was up in 10 days. Carmelo will go on to say that when a wrestler is injured, their contract is paused. This pause applies not only to in-ring injuries, but also to situations like pregnancy and postpartum recovery. Essentially, any time away from the ring leads to the contract being put on hold for a specific period. Quote, then when you go back to work, however long it was paused for, they tack on the end of the contract. That's the impression that I was under. Come to find out, the way it worked out, my contract was paused for 7 weeks after I had my son and then reinstated. I didn't know. Nobody told me that I only had 7 weeks off after my son and that they were going to reinstate it. I basically had a year left on my contract when I got pregnant. When the contract, that's the end of the quote, when the contract was reinstated on January 1st, 2024, it appears that date was chosen uh according to Carmella. The contract then ran from January through the following February, at which point it expired, bringing her time to WWE to an end. So, of course, this leads to the infamous, hey, I think I was ghosted by WWE, where Carmella also mentioned that given her big personality in WWE, she had even suggested taking on a managerial role for a tag team as a way to contribute while she was unable to wrestle. Although she was cleared to travel but not compete in the ring, she experienced an unexpected radio silence from the company saying, quote, is it because I'm a woman? Is it because I had a baby? Is it because I had a baby point blank? She wondered. They weren't giving me any answers on the phone either. Why? What's happening? They were like, this is just what we're going with right now. I don't even think they said that. It was just, I'll put you in touch with legal. Legal, I just want to know why this is happening. This doesn't feel right. So, there's a whole lot of assumptions here on her part. This is, where if there was ever a time you need to have a lawyer friend, a publicist, a buffer that can basically do this type of work for you and find out what's going on while also at the same time, okay, look, let's make sure that all of your bread and butter is not just over here. Let's make sure you've got other projects that's going to be lined up as well. That's going to be keeping you on your toes and everything until you are ready to maybe contribute in the ring for these guys, right? So, if I couldn't have been doing this interview because I would have been asking, where's your agent? Where's your where's your lawyer? Like, why don't you have people that's like doing this for you to find out, and make sure that, 'cause this is a lot of assuming that you're doing here. And then, for this woman to not counter when Carmella started, talking about, oh, I was ghosted, it's because I'm pregnant. It's like, well, wait a minute here. Just recently we saw Killer Kelly, who I love that woman tremendously, but she just came back from giving birth. She's now starting to take independent dates again. Ain't nobody running from her. If anything, there's a whole just plethora of promotions that's hollering at her, going, "Yeah, yeah, welcome back. Come on, do some stuff with her. Do some stuff with us." We know Becky Lynch is getting ready to come back. I know Sue Young. I mean, we're going a couple of years back, but I know Sue Young had got pregnant, and shoot, I remember Sue Young continued to work right on up until she damn near was ready to pop her kid out. She was doing little vignette prepackaged stuff. She didn't do anything in the ring. She didn't get physical or anything, but I remember her in her TNA days. She was doing some stuff, and it was like, wow, okay, go ahead. Like, I see you, go ahead, right? But there are like so many examples of women that, okay, they got pregnant, they were out for a little bit, and then they came on back. Definitely when you look at WWE, so we can burst that whole thing with a bubble. A good interviewer, let alone one that understands and has a pair of eyeballs and sees what's happening not just within the WWE, but sees what's happening with the whole ecosystem in general, would have been like, well, this is obviously speculation here, and we sadly won't definitively know for certain why you were ghosted, if you want to call it that, but just why WWE ultimately decided they wanted to go in a different direction. But I would imagine it doesn't help when WWE has this great partnership that's going on with TNA Wrestling, and now it looks like they are in the beginning early stages, if you will, of having some type of partnership with the NWA and Billy Corgan. Not to mention, we look at the fact that WWE and their developmental system, we look at their ID program that's going on. Like, just look at X amount of talents that they have waiting in the wings here. Some, not me, but some would make the argument that what you have contributed to the WWE for essentially 10 years, 2 years you were out, basically, with that whole 1 year for your kid, and then the other year you're pretty much dealing with, whatever's going on with your foot, health, whatever. So basically, 10 years in the WWE, mediocre wrestler, a lot of fans would say, right down to the point that, oh, if this person just happens to be available tomorrow and they can sign with WWE and they can get that person for a much lower price than what they're paying you, why not go that route? Like, those are the type of questions, comments. That's how you come back at somebody, because you have to ride that line. You have to be that devil's advocate, and you've got to play up to that chatter that's out there and everything. I know Carmella had came back at somebody on social media recently. I'm trying to see if I can pull that up real quick here, but there was something that she had said on social media, kind of like in a retort to what somebody had put out there, as they were saying, I think it was somebody from Ringside. Am I remembering it right? It was somebody from Ringside, and the person had said, yo, according to my respected sources, um, according to my respected sources, uh, hang on, I'm gonna find it. I'm gonna find it. Hopefully she didn't tweet and delete. I'm hoping. Oh, I think I found it. Oh no, the post has been deleted. Son of a bitch, the post has been deleted. That sucks. That sucks. But no, like, that's why I stopped doing interviews, because it started to get to a point where the people that I was interested in interviewing, there would be different hands in the cookie jar that would try to steer the topic of conversation, say to me what I can talk about, what I can't talk about, and it literally stopped me in the middle of my questioning, and let's start over again. You can't act like. I just will be like, and luckily, knock on wood, I'm happy to say that never happened when I was interviewing somebody that might have been active on the WWE roster at that time, or maybe even shortly after their release. Never happened with anybody in TNA or any of the other promotions. Never happened. Like, happy to say that, but like, this is where all this fucking footsie. That's basically what this is a bunch of footsie work, hyping up this person, you know, uh, playing them up, hyping them up, and a lot of kiss assing is basically what it is, right? So, for some people that don't know what to look for, particularly when it comes to interviews and all that, it's kind of one of those. Yeah, you'll probably be like, "Oh my God, this was great. This was fantastic. You know, this was the greatest shit on a cracker." But like, no, when you really get down to the heart of the matter, this interview was a lot of self-sucking. This was ego tripping to the fullest extent. And, okay, you're not happy with how things had played out for you. in WWE. Okay, well, you know what? Take the fucking high road. This is where you take the high road. And you know why you take the high road? Because your husband still works there. And you've got some type of income that's coming in right now. Now, unless you and your man been very, very frugal with your money, and you got a boatload that's just tucked away to the point that, look, we're good for the next 2-3 years. We can figure out whatever we want to do. That's how much money we got saved in the bank. You got that, go fuck yourself money. Hey, if that's what you got going on, more power to you. I say, okay, right? Do that. But if you care about the connections, the relationships that you've made, and all of this other stuff, I've always been a firm believer, especially when you've invested more than 3 years with an employer. You want to make sure that as far as references and all that stuff goes, you want to make sure you don't burn that damn bridge, right? I would rather talk behind closed doors with my loved ones about an employer. Anything that I might have found annoying or whatever, I would rather behind closed doors have that conversation with family and let it just stay with them than to have that be publicized any day of the week. Boys and girls, especially you cats in the wrestling industry right now, this is a prime example of this is why you don't immediately go do the first interview that comes your way. You give yourself some time. Give yourself a couple of weeks. Take 2 weeks, 3 weeks, hell, even take a month. When it's all said and done, these interviews, like, they're not paying you anyway. All right. Typically, these interviews, you ain't getting paid. So this is where you take all the time that you need, do some soul searching and all that other good stuff. And then if you decide you want to do these round of media interviews, then you make sure that, okay, let's go with somebody that's very reputable, somebody that, you know, isn't gonna kiss our ass, but at the same time is, very fair, very well balanced. And then, look, if push comes to shove, we're in a day and age right now where we can easily just take a phone, any phone or a tablet, turn that some bitch on, and we can just do it our damn selves. We can whatever, hey, about that release, we can get it off ourselves. Um, just yeah, that's all I gotta say. And my God, kudos to those of you that's able to go through a whole hour, 20, 30 minutes of that shit too. Like, no, I'm not. I gotta move on. I got bigger and better things to do with my time. So we had that. WWE apparently has launched a WCW channel. Now, here's where it's new, not new. So, in the past, many of you guys know that for the longest time on WWE's YouTube channel, WWE would stay posting WCW content on that channel. But it appears those days are now over, as now they decide, okay, well, let's go ahead and let's launch uh, a WCW YouTube channel. Let's have its own channel. So that's what's going on right now. And as it stands, as I'm looking at it right now in real time for you guys at the time of this live recording, right now, WCW has 162,000 plus subscribers. And it looks like it launched. Let's see when this channel had launched here. Let's see here. You used to be able to see the about section. I think now I have to remove that and type in about, and I should be able to see it that way, right? No. Oh, wow. I thought that was going to give me the information. Okay. Maybe I can go about this. Let's see here. Ah, there we go. There we go. Now I'm able to see here. So according to this, is this right? According to this WCW channel, it looks like it launched a year ago from what I'm able to read. It's just that they were so infrequent with uploading because everything was mainly going over to the YouTube channel. But apparently, I know you've probably been seeing the reports like, oh, yeah, this is new. This is new. No, no, according to the health history that I'm able to access here, thanks to vidIQ, yeah, this WCW channel is a year old, fam. It's just that they're now uploading, but it's good. So for those of you that maybe want to relive some fun times, go there, have at it. There's only key things that's uploaded right now. It's not exactly in a chronological order just yet. All right, the first 10 episodes of Nitro, first 10 is it's very sporadic, very cherry picked what is out there in the open right now. Since last we were on the air, Lex Luger now going into the WWE Hall of Fame. It's now official. I thought that was a really nice, heartwarming video package that was put together, where Cody Rhodes had visited Lex Luger, working out with Diamond Dallas Page, which, by the way, like just I'm a little conflicted in regards to Lex Luger. There's still that part of me that thinks about everything that had happened with Miss Elizabeth and everything. But then there's also that part of me that says, well, it takes two to tangle. Not for nothing, Miss Elizabeth was a grown ass woman. She was capable of making her own decisions, and so there's a lot of mixed emotions that I have there whenever I think about Lex Luger. Um I'm still very conflicted. There's a big part of me though, there's an overwhelming part of me that legit is going, I'm glad this man was able to find Christ and he is living a completely different life. Like there's that part of me that is just because I do believe that people can change, right? And I've been saying on this show for the longest time that what makes America so cool is that we believe in comebacks. We believe in a second comeback. We believe in giving people second chances. Hell, sometimes we believe in giving people a third, a fourth, a fifth, you name it. So there's that big part of me that I legit get a smile on my face. And I got to tell you, I remember when Lex Luger had put out his autobiography, and just the stories from that book. And I remember the media rounds that he was making, and already around that time you heard the rumblings about, this guy apparently he's found Christ and he's trying to turn his life around for the better. And very suspect way back when. It was very, very suspect, and you couldn't just help but go, this has to be a work, right? This has to be, he's not going to be able to stay this course. Like, no, and I remember how dismissive I was because I was still reeling off everything that happened with Miss Elizabeth. And it was like, no, I'm not going to give this guy the time of day. Like, no. But there was also that part of me that was very, very curious of, is this legit? There's that part of me that, quietly, I hope this is legit. I hope he's really trying here. And I would always just keep tabs off and on through the years. I would always keep tabs because true story. This is a true story. I remember when that book of his was about to drop, whoever his agent or whatever was at the time, I remember getting an email. And it was, how would you like to interview Lex Luger? He's going to be promoting his new book. And I just remember like, hell no. I remember my exact thought process at that time. Hell no, F that killer. I'm not interested in talking to that murderer. Legit, fam. That was my thoughts way back then. Um, and one of my colleagues back then, they did a really great, because they were among the first handful to do an interview with him, but they also were the first to have highlights of their interview transcribed for the wrestling websites, and they had rode a huge wave of momentum as a result. And I was happy for them. I was legit happy for them because I did feel that the interview was very strong. And I saw so many other interviews after that. It was pretty much they were trying to do a rinse and repeat. They literally were ripping questions, the same questions that my friend had asked, and pretty much, trying to do their own little fun, well, actually, not even fun. They were trying poorly to do their spin on it. And it didn't quite capture what my friend had captured. I wouldn't say friend, colleague. But there was always that curiosity that just kept me. Let me just continue to keep tabs, you know. And yeah, I still feel a little conflicted, but not as conflicted as I was in the previous years. I'm definitely happy to see where Lex Luger is. I'm looking forward to hearing his speech. That should be a speech that is quite the emotional one. Quite the emotional one. By the way, we were talking about John Cena earlier. In case you guys are not aware, for that May 24th edition of Saturday Night's Main Event, they've already put out the press release. John Cena will be on that episode. So make sure you mark that down on your calendars. Shout out to the cast and crew and everybody involved with the new Daredevil Born Again series. Had the pleasure of checking out the first two episodes. I didn't watch them back to back. It was funny. I watched episode one that night it premiered, and then I didn't watch episode two until the weekend. And man, oh, that series. I mean, it is like they never left. They literally are picking up right where they left off, if not better. I love it. The new layers to Vincent D'Onofrio's Kingpin. I am really, I'm just in awe. I'm in a trance. Just what's going on with this Kingpin character this go round. And I tell you, Optics, that's the name of the second episode. I'm just looking at that episode. I'm going, does it get better than this? Because so far, like, I know it's a bit premature for me to say, but like, Optics was very strong, very, very strong of an episode there. Very strong of an episode. I did not know that the guy that plays White Tiger in there, I didn't know that he died in December. And I did not know that that was veteran daytime soap actor. I know him as Antonio Vega from One Life to Live. I did not know that was him. And man, so it turns out he was battling cancer. And by the time he got diagnosed, that pretty much was it for him, unfortunately. I mean, that really, really sucks. Only 56 years old. And you're just like, oh, like that is just so damn heartbreaking. Definitely has me curious now. How much were they able to film with him? Did they have to bring in a new actor to explain? Like it makes the rest of this season, okay, let's see how this unfolds here, going forward. Um, but congratulations are definitely in order for Daredevil Born Again and everybody involved, because it debuted with, get this, 7.5 million viewers in the first 5 days on Disney Plus for its 2 episode premiere. That made it the biggest streaming debut on the platform so far this year. So that is fantastic to hear. Seriously, that's the type of numbers that you definitely want to hear. So definitely big congratulations. I'm happy that that these guys are back. I don't know. Now look, I don't want to spoil things for those that haven't watched yet, but if you want to pick my brain on how can I word this without putting out a spoiler. Some of you guys may be like, Lee, do you think that blah 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 is really blah blah blah? If you know your comics, right? That's so I mean, we could go a couple of different ways. We could go a couple of different ways with that one. Hey, rest in peace to one of my favorite uh jazz funk pioneers, um vibraphonist, composer, songwriter. I mean, he played the flute. This man did everything. Very, very gifted. Roy Ayers. My life, my life, my life, my life in the sunshine. Folks get burned in the sunshine. That was oh my god. So he passed away at the age of 84. Uh, Heartbreaking, touching at the same time, seeing all the great supports, love, just great support that's coming in for the guy and his passing. His music transcended generations upon generations. Man stayed getting sampled. Man stayed getting sampled. Y'all know how much of a big fan I am of blaxploitation films. So anybody that has ever checked out Pam Grier in that movie Coffee, Roy Ayers did the whole soundtrack for that. I don't know how many of you guys are aware of that, but he did the soundtrack for that whole album. It's a killer freaking album. Check it out. Okay. Um, Back in 2018, I stayed going back to it like to this very day, right down to the point. I'm not saying it just to be saying it, but like legit last week, just like few days before, hey, he died, I was watching his Tiny Desk music performance from back in 2018. I mean, that is a classic performance. Great rendition too of Everybody Loves the Sunshine. Matter of fact, that's like the track opener. That's like his first that's the first song that him and his band performs for Tiny Desk. Is that one. Just his time, all said and done. Also, rest in peace to but just going back to Roy Ayers one more time. And I don't want people to get the impression, oh, well, yeah, he had the hits, but this was somebody that also worked with newer acts as well. This was somebody that did work for Erica Badu, um, Destiny's Child, her. I mean, the list just goes on and on and on. This guy was active, very active, right on up, pretty much till the very end. So, but also, we lost somebody that died tragically of cancer. F cancer. This guy was taken away from us way too soon, as far as I'm concerned. Rest in power to Dwayne Wiggins, founding member of the R&B group Tony, who lost his life to cancer at the age of 64. Us Tony fans, it never rains in sunny California. Uh, Lay your head on my pillow. It's our anniversary, whatever you want. I mean, the hits, man, the hits that band put out back in the day, man. And each album kicked ass. Like each album nominated for Grammys, won Grammys. Like it just, you know, it's sad because for us fans, we had hoped that we would one day get to see the band reunited and a new album of new material would be out there. Now, we got one of those because they had reformed in 2023. And they did like this very short tour, and there was talk that they were working on new music, right down to the point that they said that, they have a lot of music that's in the vault, like they are ready to go. They were going to do things right this go round because what broke that band up initially was honestly, management, uh, greed. There's just a whole lot of toxicity got put into that band, and everybody's just kind of breaking off, doing their own thing. Because remember, Wiggins and Raphael Sadiq, both of them, uh, if I'm not mistaken, brothers, and then they had, I think, a friend of the band, maybe a cousin, that had joined them or whatever. So that's how you get your, your Tony 2020 fun story, how that name had came about too, for the band. I won't spoil it for you guys that don't know your homework on that, but go out of your way. It's fun trivia. It's fun trivia. Um, but yeah, 2023 they did a very limited tour, and the talk was they were gonna go into the studio and they were gonna put some stuff out. Like they already had like throughout the years stuff in the vault. It was just a matter of sitting down. Okay, what are we gonna maybe fine tune, put out there? But last I heard from Raphael Sadiq, he pretty much said, "Yeah, doesn't look like that's gonna be happening now, unfortunately." And I don't think at that time it had anything to do with Dwayne Wiggins' health. I just think at that time it was a case of like, and we're all in so many different directions now that like, we're good. I know for the longest time, long after Raphael Sadiq left Tony, they had somebody else step in basically as lead singer, and they were touring and all that. But yeah, like now that's not gonna happen ever now. So it's it sucks. But hey, Dwayne Wiggins and his contributions to the music industry, it definitely lives on. It definitely lives on. That cancer, man, it's one of those things where you go, especially if you're black, and if you are age 45 and over, it's one of those things where you go, okay, you know what? You definitely now more than ever make sure you get checked out, right? Early detection. That is the key. That is the key. Early detection. Um, One of my favorite singers, though, man. I mean, remember he was the lead vocals for "Whatever You Want." Yeah, "Slow Wine." All right, he was lead on that as well. Damn good singer. Damn good singer. Afterwards, after Tony was done and everything, I know he had a solo album or two that came out, if I remember it right. Um, that was pretty good. Matter of fact, no. He only released one solo album. Now that I think about it, he only released one solo album, and it was for Motown Records. Eyes Never Lie. I think it came out around 2000, 2001, and it had great collaborations from Carlos Santana, Jamie Foxx, uh, Darius Ruckus from Hootie and the Blowfish. The album was actually pretty damn good. I remember that was one of my personal favorites. His besides what he did with Tony, just when you look at what he was able to do post, I think like the most significant contribution that he was able to make was working on Alicia Keys' um what was the album? I think it might have been her debut album, actually. The contributions that he made to that, and yeah, he's definitely going to be missed. Talented, very talented musician, very talented musician. So rest in power to both of those guys. All right. So other than that, just seeing if there's anything else running around this last little bit that we need to talk about. Just making sure there's no breaking news while we're still here on the air. By the way, appreciate you guys that are with me live right now. However, you're checking me out. Maybe you're doing it via Twitter or YouTube or Facebook. Appreciate you guys that's tuned in to this episode. As far as programming notes go, As far as programming notes go, we're definitely going to be doing a bonus episode of Wrestling with the Topic. So make sure you stay tuned for that. That's going to be fun. I'll be talking a lot more about that FaceTime with the Pros event. Looking forward to that. Shout out to friends of the show. Shout out to my boy, my good friend, my brother in arms, Anthony Missionary Thomas of Wrestling Soup. I am so fortunate enough to have Mish helping me out right now. He's working on my business website, and the timing of this is actually perfect because I'm finding more and more as far as getting into the news industry. It's like you want to make sure that your website, your portfolio of work is like, you gotta make sure that shit is like banging good. So I'm looking forward to doing the big grand reveal for that site with you guys once it's nice and running. This is basically separate from the RCWR show website that we have currently live right now. Which reminds me, it's about that time to get into some more writing there when I get an opportunity. But appreciate Mish helping me out on the site there. Also, shout out to my boy. Oh, shout out Joe Numbers as well. Shout out to Joe Numbers as well. Shout out to Julian Cannon of Digiday and the Nocturnal. I know I was promoting him last week when it came to. I know I was promoting him last week when it came to his NFL coverage because if I'm not mistaken, he went to cover the Super Bowl. So he has a couple of pieces that's out right now. So feel free to check that out when you guys get an opportunity. Oh my God, I can't believe I almost forgot. We didn't talk about AEW Revolution, did we? I almost forgot about that. Let's talk about that real quick. I don't want to do a long-winded review for AEW Revolution. Look, and this isn't me just glossing over. Look, AEW Revolution, like in general, a really good card. Really, I honestly mean that as somebody that actually came out of their pocket to pay for the pay per view. It was a really good pay per view. Even the stuff that was happening during Zero Hour, I thought was fairly decent. I definitely felt, this is like AEW Rampage basically, but I didn't mind it. It was good. I think for all the good hard work that was put on the actual pay-per-view card where they had just stellar match after stellar match. Now look, I do have to push back on the Will Ospreay versus Cal Fletcher steel cage match. I mean, when you're doing everything but basically throwing the kitchen sink and pulling out a gun to shoot one another, like I don't know about you guys, but I thought for sure that after the Spanish fly off the top of the steel cage, that was over. Like, match is over. Yet somehow the match kept going. And the way it ended after that awesome Spanish fly, I'm going, no, that was just stupid. Just silly, I felt. But Mer not Mercedes Monet. Her, I mean, that was all right, but I'm not thinking about her. Tony Storm versus Mariah May. The match of the night. The match of the night. For that pay-per-view, definitely the best match of the night. I thought those girls, I tell you what, by the time it ended, I was telling my wife when I was watching this, because she was seeing the amount of blood that was coming off of Tony Storm's face. And I said to her, yeah, Tony must have hit like a main artery there because that is a lot of freaking blood. And I was telling her, I said, the forehead, like believe it or not, as thin and all that as it feels, like there's so much blood up there. It's like just you'd be surprised just what the slightest cut can do and how much blood can come out as a result there. But I think Tony Storm might have went a little bit too deep with her blading job. But I thought it was a little squeamish. Don't get me wrong. I did feel a little bit squeamish checking them out and everything. But despite that, putting that to the side, I felt hands down that was the match of the night. I was very proud very proud of the work those girls put in there. But at the same time, I'm going, my God, we've got like what, 3 more matches to go. How are the other guys gonna top this? Like, what the hell? And yeah, Will Ospreay, Cal Fletcher, their match was good, but it started to get a little bit comical there, especially after that Spanish fly. You're like, I thought for sure after the Spanish fly, the way that was going to end was okay. Both guys are being stretchered out. Both guys are being attended to. Looks like they can't continue because they practically killed themselves here, right? I thought maybe it was going to end something along those lines, but it didn't. And then to see, if I'm not mistaken, to see Will Ospreay try to cover Fletcher after that Spanish fly, and Fletcher kicks out like bullshit. Come on. So yeah, wasn't a fan of that and how all that had played out. The main event match between Plumber John Moxley and Cope. So a lot of people thought that Jay White was maybe going to betray Cope. And we kind of saw a little bit of that come into play, but not in the way some people thought, oh my God, I accidentally hit you. My bad. It's like, okay, all right. But then we had the Christian element in there. And we're keeping in mind, Christian has been running around with this contract thing for like, almost a year. And you're like, oh my God, this is it. This is it. You had him hold on to that contract for that long, and you don't do a payoff. You don't do the payoff. It's booking, it's poor booking like that. I think fans would have been okay, even if the end result would have been Cope walks out as the new AEW champion. I think folks just would have been happy. Because they're not. I looked at a lot of the comments that was circulating there, and I agree with the overall consensus, which is, look, overall, solid pay-per-view. Main event match, you really bring back to the forefront the greatest flaw there is there with Tony Khan and crew, which is their booking. Their booking, and what happened with that main event match is a prime example. I never saw so many fans frustrated before as they were commenting on the pay-per-view in real time. A lot of people, look, we need to be done with John Moxley already, and this, like, it's run its course. It's like it's go away heat now. Like that's not good. Like, end this already. What the hell? Some people felt that with Ricochet losing to Swerve Strickland, Swerve right back in there in the main title picture, that, hey, look, he's been elevated, and this is what, I can't help but push back on that, because it's like, well, wait a minute, you had a really good thing that was going on here with Christian, and somehow it's incorporated there with Cope, and you couldn't pull the trigger right there, and you had Moxley walk. Like, how can you be that confident that Swerve is going to be that guy? He's going to be the one to dethrone Moxley, and let alone become a 2-time AEW World Heavyweight Champion. Like, I don't know. The odds don't look that favorable. If you're a Swerve fan, you're definitely going, I don't know about this. After seeing what I just saw, yeah, I don't know about all this. So, it's interesting, because seeing how everything had played out, it made me go, well, I guess I'm not really missing anything, because, I dip in on AEW programming every couple of weeks. And for me, I miss quite a few weeks. So I went into this pay-per-view. Okay, I'm going in blind. Let's see what's going on. There's a little there that makes me a little bit curious about, okay, let me see what's going on here. Let me see what I've been missing out on. I want a little bit more info on this. I need some more clarity on, but I'm not at that point where I want to race to go watch it in real time, if that makes sense. It's kind of one of those, I'll watch it, but maybe I'll watch it on the weekend when I get a free moment. And yeah, I can rewind easily, or fast forward, once it's available on my DVR and all that. That's kind of where I'm at now with all this. Did not check out the first episode of Evolve yet. However, from what I understand, you don't need to wait until a specific time. Apparently, what is it? Wednesdays, just boom, the episodes are there. They run 45 minutes as well. I was asking folks, if you could compare this, like what would you compare it to? For somebody that, isn't really, because I said, could you compare it to NXT? And they were like, nah, Lee, that's a bit unfair. Like you don't want to compare it to NXT because NXT compared to Evolve is on a different level of its own. And I mean that in the most respectful way, Lee. I'm like, okay, so what would you maybe compare this to? And a lot of the comparisons that I heard, it was, I would maybe NWA, like NWA and their power shows. Yeah, I would compare it to NWA. It's of that realm. It's in that NWA, that Wow Women of Wrestling, MLW to a certain extent. It's Booker T's ROW. It's in that kind of realm. I'm like, oh, okay. So this is, but the fact that I'm hearing that it's 45 minutes and you're in and out. Heard a lot of rave reviews for the commentary team of Peter Rosenberg and what's that guy's name? Robert Stone, the Stone brand guy. Robbie E. I know him mainly as Robbie E. Can't believe he's been added. There's somebody that's in my class, and I got to make sure I let him know this when I see him tomorrow. But there's this guy in my class that looks just like Robbie E. Looks just like him. Just like him. Got the height and everything. Like I'm gonna say, like, are you related to this guy by chance? Like, is he maybe it's maybe your brother? Is he maybe your cousin or something? It's like there are strong similarities there, man. Strong similarities. But I'm planning on watching Evolve definitely this week. I'm gonna watch the first 2 episodes, get back with you guys, let you know what I think about that. Hey, be kind, rewind. Check out previous episodes you might have missed when demanding on the downloads, wherever you get your podcast. Just search the RCWR show. Also on social media, use the same keywords there, especially on that Blue Sky. Make sure you hit your man up on Blue Sky. Loving it over there. And yeah, at this point, we're gonna come back probably likely Wednesday because Tams is off from work for a couple of days, enjoying some much needed R&R. So I have a feeling sometime Wednesday afternoon, me and her are going to sit down and do that episode of Wrestling with the Topics for you guys. So I'm looking forward to that. Please, if you enjoyed this episode, you know what to do. Smash the likes, all that. Go show the YouTube channel a lot of love. Make sure you subscribe over there. Been lighting it up, putting more reviews on there and everything. By the way, before I go, I got to show this off to you guys. This came in the mail literally a few days ago. This is the Arkham Asylum. What is this? What are they calling this? Hang on here. This is the Arkham Asylum. I guess it's the showcase series. It's one of two. So we've got Joker that's in here. This is an actual statue. That's in this. It's not a drawing. It's an actual three-dimensional figure of Joker that's in this asylum case here. And they've got a Joker version. Sorry about that, folks. I'm having a little bit of a brain fart. They've got a Two-Face version, is what I was trying to say. They've got a Two-Face version as well. That's going to be coming a couple of months down the pipeline. As you can see, there's an on-off switch, all that good stuff. Apparently, this is from, there you go. Kind of give you guys a better idea. Pretty cool, right? Pretty cool. This is from the Bradford Exchange. I remember when I got hooked up with this, They told me straight up, hey, you're not going to get it in time for Christmas, but you'll get one. And so I totally forgot about it, and it literally came in the mail a few days ago. And I said to my wife, I said, "Did you get something from the Bradford Exchange?" She goes, "No." I go, "Huh." Well, when I opened the box, like, oh snap, and made my day. I was like, "Hey, cool." I showed it to some of my classmates because some of them were hoping they would get to see some of this, but I blanked out. Like I forgot. So that was kind of cool. That's about $86. $86. Now, luckily, when I got this, apparently what I did not know, which is kind of cool, they gave me a 30-day try it at home trial. So in the 30 days, if I like it, then the only thing I got to do then is just send my payment. Not only am I paying for that, but basically I'll be paying for the next one as well. And like I said, they got a Two-Face one that's part of the series as well. Now, what I can't figure out is if that 86 will cover Joker and Two-Face, or if that 86 just covers Joker, and whenever Two-Face is ready, they'll hook me up at a later date. I don't know. Your guess is as good as mine, but that's pretty cool. Nice little fun addition to the man cave there. So yeah, I love it. 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 All right, fam. That is gonna do it. I'm gonna shut this bad boy down. I will catch you guys for Wednesdays wrestling with the topics with the misses. That should be a fun show. That's gonna be the first time we're gonna be I don't know how we're gonna do it yet. I don't know if we're gonna utilize the desk and you'll be able to see both of us, or if we're just gonna fire up the audio. I don't know yet. We'll have to brainstorm and see how she's doing that. Until next go round, my pretty babies, wishing all of y'all to be safe. Most importantly, be kind to one another. I will see you guys next go round. Adios, y'all, and take care.